For a decade, the sunny streets of Milwaukee on happy days defined an idealized American dream, rendering its cast permanently unforgettable. But what happened after the final curtain fell is darker than any scripted drama, filled with tragic isolation, sudden deaths, and devastating legal battles. Here is the reality of the cast in 2026. Number 1, we have Erin Moran, who captured millions of hearts as Joni Cunningham, the sassy, mischievous younger sister of Richie. Born in 1960 in Burbank, California, she was a seasoned child actress who was just 13 years old when she stepped onto the Milwaukee set, growing up entirely in front of the camera, as she transformed from a young girl into a romantic lead. Tragically, she is no longer with us. She passed away on April 22, 2017 at the age of 56 due to complications from stage 4 throat cancer. After the series concluded, her career sharply declined as she found herself heavily typecast, forcing her to endure severe financial distress that eventually led to the foreclosure of her California home and moving into an Indiana trailer park. Joni Cunningham was the ultimate picture of bright youthful innocence, but Erin Moran's real life succumbed to a heartbreakingly quiet battle against poverty and terminal illness. Number 2, we have Scott Baio, who skyrocketed to fame as Chachi Arcola, the heartthrob cousin of Fonzie. Born in 1960 in Brooklyn, New York, he entered the show in 1977 at just 17 years old, quickly captivating millions of young viewers with his signature catchphrase, "Wah wah wah," and his on-screen romance with Joni. In 2026, Baio is 65 years old. Following the massive success of the series, he initially maintained his Hollywood momentum by starring in the hit sitcom Charles in Charge and directing various television projects, but his career eventually stalled as his public image shifted. Decades later, his clean-cut legacy shattered when multiple former co-stars publicly accused him of historical sexual misconduct, verbal abuse, and mental harassment during his time as a young adult star in the 1980s. Though Baio vehemently denied all allegations and legal charges were ultimately declined due to expired statutes of limitations, the disturbing controversies permanently fractured his public standing. Chachi Arcola was the ultimate dream boyfriend of a nostalgic era, but Scott Baio in real life became a highly polarizing figure entangled in dark Hollywood scandals. Number 3, we have Henry Winkler, who became an instant cultural phenomenon as Arthur the Fonz, Fonzarelli, the leather-jacketed, ultra-cool grease monkey. Born in 1945 in New York City, Winkler was a highly educated theater graduate from the Yale School of Drama. Yet he was 28 years old when he landed the role that would define him brilliantly, channeling a tough-talking, superhumanly smooth persona. In 2026, Winkler is 80 years old. After the monumental success of the show, he suffered from catastrophic typecasting, with Hollywood refusing to see him as anything but Fonzie, which forced him to pivot to directing and producing hit series like MacGyver, just to survive in the industry. For decades, he harbored a deeply private struggle with severe, undiagnosed dyslexia, which had caused his parents to cruelly label him dumb. Throughout his youth, a trauma he only fully overcame late in life when he re-emerged as an Emmy-winning character actor on Barry and a best-selling children's author. The Fonz was an untouchable, effortlessly confident rebel who never showed a single vulnerability, but Henry Winkler spent decades quietly battling deep-seated academic insecurities and the suffocating shadow of his own iconic character. Number 4, we have Ron Howard, who anchored the series as Richie Cunningham, the wholesome red-headed epitome of mid-century teenage innocence. Born in 1954 in Duncan, Oklahoma, Howard was already a veteran child star from The Andy Griffith Show when he joined this project at 19 years old, perfectly embodying the morally upright, dependable, all-American boy. In 2026, Howard is 72 years old. Following his strategic departure from the sitcom, in 1980, he broke free from actor typecasting by transitioning entirely behind the lens, evolving into an elite Oscar-winning Hollywood director of films like A Beautiful Mind and Apollo 13. However, his path required immense personal sacrifice and a relentless high-pressure work ethic to strip away his on-screen identity, enduring intense industry skepticism before being taken seriously as a filmmaker. Richie Cunningham was a simple, small-town Midwestern teenager navigating youth, but Ron Howard grew up to become one of the most powerful, Influential titans in modern cinematic history. Number 5. We have Tom Bosley, who grounded the family sitcom as Howard Cunningham, the lovable, down-to-earth patriarch and owner of the local hardware store. Born in 1927 in Chicago, Illinois, Bosley was an accomplished Tony Award-winning Broadway star who was 46 years old when he accepted the role, quickly perfecting his signature booming voice and warm, fatherly demeanor that resonated with millions of families. He is no longer with us. Bosley passed away on October 19, 2010, at the age of 83, after a quiet, exhausting battle with lung cancer and staphylococcal infections. Following his iconic run on the show, he smoothly transitioned into other staple television roles, most notably starring as Sheriff Amos Tupper in the long-running mystery series Murder, She Wrote. Yet behind his cheerful public image, Bosley spent his later years dealing with painful personal losses, including the tragic death of his first wife from a brain tumor. And he later engaged in a multi-million-dollar breach of contract lawsuit against CBS, alongside his former castmates, over unpaid merchandising royalties. Howard Cunningham was the ultimate stable content provider for his family, but Tom Bosley's real life was marked by private grief and a harsh legal fight for financial justice from the industry he served. Number 6. We have Marion Ross, who radiated warmth as Marion Cunningham, the sweet, traditional, and occasionally spunky matriarch, affectionately known as Mrs. C. Born in 1928 in Albert Lea, Minnesota, Ross was a veteran contract actress who had spent decades playing minor Hollywood roles before landing this defining character at the age of 45, quickly becoming the comforting moral compass of the entire show. In 2026, Ross is 97 years old, living peacefully in retirement after officially stepping away from the spotlight. Following the series finale, she successfully escaped the traditional sitcom curse by finding continuous work as a highly respected character actress, earning critical acclaim and an Emmy nomination for her role in Life Goes On. However, her private journey was marred by significant early hardships, including a painful, financially devastating divorce from her first husband that left her as a struggling single mother just before she found fame. And she later had to sue CBS for millions in unpaid merchandising royalties. Marion Cunningham was the ultimate picture-perfect, cheerful 1950s homemaker. But Marion Ross, outside the screen, was a fiercely resilient survivor who fought through personal heartbreak and industry exploitation. Number 7, we have Anson Williams, who brought to life Warren Potsy Weber, the well-meaning but incredibly gullible best friend of Richie. Born in 1949 in Los Angeles, California, Williams was a young, aspiring actor and singer who was 24 years old when he secured the role, immediately winning over audiences with his character's naive charm and surprisingly soulful musical performances at Arnold's. In 2026, Williams is 76 years old. Realizing that his on-screen persona had severely restricted his acting prospects, he smartly pivoted behind the camera after the show ended, building a highly prolific, decades-long career as a television director for major hits like Beverly Hills 90210 and The Secret Life of the American Teenager. His personal life, however, was filled with complex transitions, including a high-profile divorce after 3 decades of marriage and a serious battle with colon cancer in 2016, which ultimately inspired him to completely reshape his life and successfully run for public office as a city council member in California. Potsy Weber was a simple, easily misled teenager with a beautiful singing voice, but Anson Williams in reality proved to be an incredibly versatile director, cancer survivor, and dedicated civic leader. Number 8. We have Don Most, who delivered endless comic relief as Ralph Malph, the fast-talking, joke-cracking prankster of the teenage gang. Born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, Most was a determined 20-year-old college student when he originally auditioned for the role of Richie, but his natural comedic timing so impressed the creators that they custom-built the wisecracking Ralph just for him. In 2026, Most is 72 years old. After leaving the series in 1980 to explore new creative avenues, he faced a brutal uphill battle against extreme Hollywood typecasting, which dried up his acting offers and forced him to pivot toward voice acting and directing independent films. His deepest lifelong passion, however, was big band jazz, an artistic pursuit he had to put on hold for decades before finally reinventing himself late in life as a touring swing musician and cabaret performer. Ralph Malph was a loud, goofy teenager desperately seeking attention through cheap gags. But Don Most in real life became a focused, disciplined jazz vocalist who spent decades reclaiming his true artistic voice. Number 9, we have Al Molinaro, who became an instantly recognizable face as Al Del Vecchio, the lovable, heavy-sighing owner of Arnold's Drive-In. Born in 1919 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Molinaro was a unique Hollywood late bloomer who had spent years working in real estate before pursuing acting full-time, making him 56 years old when he took over the iconic television diner in 1976. He is no longer with us. Molinaro passed away on October 30th, 2015, at the advanced age of 96 due to complications from a severe gallbladder ailment. Following his departure from the main series, he reprised his role in the spin-off Joni Loves Chachi and later co-founded a real-life chain of diner restaurants called Big Al's, though he found himself permanently restricted to playing the exact same good-natured working-class archetype in commercials and bit television roles. Behind his perpetually melancholic on-screen expressions, he was a deeply religious, intensely private family man who purposefully walked away from mainstream Hollywood, acting in his later years to preserve his personal values. Al Del Vecchio was a simple, constantly exasperated diner owner who lived through other people's dramas. But Al Molinaro in reality was a sharp, fiercely principled entrepreneur who controlled his own destiny. Number 10. We have Ted McGinley, who joined the later seasons of the series as Roger Phillips, the clean-cut, polite gym teacher and nephew of Marion Cunningham. Born in 1958 in Newport Beach, California, McGinley was a handsome former collegiate water polo captain and fashion model who was 22 years old when he was cast to fill the void left by Ron Howard's departure. In 2026, McGinley is 67 years old. Following his time in Milwaukee, he became a ubiquitous face on television, starring in massive hits like Dynasty and Married, with Children. Yet he found himself tied to a bizarre pop culture joke, with fans labeling him the sitcom killer for joining shows right before their cancellation. Behind that lighthearted industry stigma, McGinley quietly maintained one of the most resilient working careers in television, steadily providing for his family away from the tabloids. Roger Phillips was a wholesome, helpful neighborhood teacher, but Ted McGinley in real life became an Iron Man of the television industry, proving that longevity matters more than brief superstardom. Does looking back at the sunny days of Milwaukee make you see the show in a completely different light? Which actor's real-life journey surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to unlock more hidden truths behind your favorite celebrity then and now stories.